What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Chook Chat Podcast here on the Sydney Roosters Diehards, where we go through the latest Roosters news and opinions over the past week. We've got a special guest tonight. Welcome on his Chook Chat Sydney Roosters Diehards debut. It's Joey from the Ruck Infringement Podcast. Great to have you, mate. Welcome to Chook Chat.
Mate, thanks for having me. Absolutely honoured. Look, I am ready to run off the back fence, mate, for you. Anything you need, I am there.
100% no, mate. Great to have you. And obviously, just for our followers and listeners that are unaware, where can we find the Ruck Infringement, and what's your podcast and your journey with the Roosters? Where that comes about?
Mate. Yeah, look, well, first off, you can find the podcast on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube as well. Mate, I've been a Roosters fan since I was 6 years old, so I'm 30 now, pushing the retirement age for a footy player. But I started following when I was 6, 2002, mate. As you would know, a fantastic year for the Roosters. Took on the Warriors in the grand final. Now, my pop was a diehard Roosters man, and he's the reason I followed it. My parents aren't really into sport at all, and I'm diehard. So, it was all thanks to Pop. And then, obviously, you know what men are like. We support a team when we're young, and we let it haunt our dreams until we die. So, Roosters forever, mate.
100%. And we thank our lucky stars that we support the Roosters right now. And we support another club. So, we've had a good little period in the last 20 odd years or so with the Roosters. So it's always great. But it's obviously how old was I? No, 5 months old when we won the comp in 02. So, but we love it. We love it. Great to see the live chat in here as well. We'll go through the latest Roosters news from the week. It was some breaking news that just come across my desk in the past hour, and we'll a lot to discuss there. A little bit of a recap from our previous trial game against the Tigers last Saturday, and look forward to our final preseason hit out before round one, and any other bits and pieces any questions that you might need to be asked, feel free to in the comments below. Right, I think let's get into it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off. We've got some breaking news that's come across over the last an hour or so. Reece Robson out for the next 8 weeks with a suspected broken hand on the eve of the season opener in 2 weeks' time. A few days out from his unofficial Roosters debut. This is a big blow with one of your star recruits down with the next 8 weeks. Obviously, it looks like it's the worst break possible. Obviously, we saw similar with Sam Walker last year, broke his thumb. He was only, obviously, wrist and thumb completely different, even though it's the same part of the body. But look, obviously, Sam Walker was out for a month. Reece Robson's out for 2 months. I think if I get the timeline right, I think going off just the top of my head here, I'd say round 5, round 6. So it's not too bad. Yeah. Obviously, missing the first month of the season is gonna suck. Obviously, he misses maybe 2 to 3 weeks in the lead up to round 1, and then probably the first 5 games of the season. So I'd say around about that round 5, round 6 mark, he'll be probably back. But obviously, you want to see a new recruit hit the ground running, and I had a lot of hype, a lot of expectation. Not expectation, but I had a lot of hype and promise, and a lot of belief in Reece Robson that he was going to be a very crucial and key part of our lineup. To see him go down during training, and just we don't have all the details obviously, but to see him go down a week out in the week of our final preseason game, then 2 weeks out from the season starting, it's a big blow.
Yeah, it's mate, it's pretty hectic. We chatted a bit off air about, we know what sort of hooker Connor Watson is, and I think, look, he'll do a job, and him and Benaya were there last year, and I thought they did really well. So it's just going to be different. Robson sort of offers you that, he's going to get through his tackles. He's going to give you great service out of dummy half. Watson's going to run. Watson's going to try and score off every play. So it's going to be different. The team has to adjust. They've got a week to do it. Let's see how we go. But look, I'm not too upset that it's Robson. I would have been more upset if it was a Cherry Evans or a Walker.
Yep, 100%. And to be fair, even if it was a DC or Sam Walker, we've got Hugo Savala there. So, I think we thank our lucky stars that we've got that coverage, and I think we said that, me and Leaguey said that in the season preview. We got so many options if injuries like this happen. And obviously, you didn't expect this to happen. Obviously, you never do. And considering the fact that this has come out of nowhere, like this is a freak accident at training. Obviously, training contact sport in the lead up to a game. Obviously, you're going to expect, it's a contact sport. It's part of the game. But it's just a big blow for us, and right on the cusp of the season starting. It's a bit of an adjustment, but I think the reassurance of having Benaya, there, he's done the job before. Connor Watson's done the job before. We got those two as options, so which gives us so much reassurance as a fan. As fans, we know that whoever is going to be replacing Reece Robson, either it's either Connor Watson or Benaya, it's we know that they can do the job there and can fill that hole for the first 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I've got a sneaky suspicion we may see Benaya start and Watson at 13. So be interesting to see.
Yeah, 100%. Like obviously, I think that's probably the best way. To be honest with you, I reckon Benaya starts, Watto 13, and then obviously Hugo probably be as our utility player for round one now. So obviously that we had that discussion a little bit this week on here, and we sort of asked, like, what are the sort of play that Robbo is going to side 6-man bench that he's going to put out? And looks like, unfortunately, it's come from an injury, but it looks like that little bit of a selection headache that we might have had on our hands for round one looks like to be solved in the cruelest way possible with Reece Robson out of the side for the next 8 weeks. While we've got Benaya 9, Watto 13, Hugo 14 in the 14. So I think that's worked that problem out. But obviously another problem on our hands now that Reece Robson's out for the next 8 weeks.
Yeah, not great, mate. Not great.
No, like especially with it's always like that when you see it. You're like, oh, like you look at it, you're like, I'm cooking dinner, preparing for tonight, and just like, really, like, it's like, oh,
it hurt.
God's sake, it hurt. Why has this happened now? Like, why is it? It feels like that when we sign someone, we have an injury to that player. Like, it's just there's always something. It's a pain in the ass, man. Like, it's completely caught us off guard, which I didn't expect that. And I was, going through last week, I was like, we had a good, obviously we'll touch on it shortly, but obviously the preseason game, yes, we lost, but like we got through it unscathed, no suspensions, no injuries. And then yet a midweek injury to one of our key guys. Like, it's just, I know it's part of our game, but like, God, it's just so annoying.
Yeah, look, at least with the wrist, it's probably not as bad. I'm hoping only a month. They're saying 8 weeks, but I think it could be even less. Hopefully his rehabilitation's pretty quick, and if it is, getting back on the park, I reckon probably around Anzac Day, I'm going to be pretty close.
Yeah, well, obviously we've still got, from Friday, it would be 2 weeks until round one, so it's probably... Yeah, I'd say, obviously, if it's the worst case scenario, the best case scenario is that no surgery required and his hand heals pretty quickly. But if it's a bad break, surgery, then it's an extra month of recovery, which, it's 8 weeks max. So that's probably the good news about it. It's not a season ending. It's not going to derail our season whatsoever. But obviously, it's still, you want to have your best team available on the field. But, like, obviously, you'd rather see these things happen now. You'd rather see them happen instead of having it, this problem as a semi-finals approach. So I guess that's the positives we can take of it, and obviously the reassurance as well that we've got guys there to do the job. So look, there's no real concern from the club point of view. I think from the fan base, be obviously gutted for Robbo, and hope we wish him all the best in the recovery and that. But at the same time, like, knowing that we've got Benaya and Watto to do the job, gives us so much confidence going for that little tricky period.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, mate. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go to the chat now. Jordan Timmins says, I think Reece Robson will be back around Anzac Day. Tough loss, says NRL card. I'm excited for him. Sad stuff. It's just cruel. Yeah, like it is. It's disappointing to say the least. But I guess, like I said, like it's and like Jake says here, thank God it's not the knee. It's not serious. It's not serious. It's not a really serious injury. it's a month or two, 1 month, 2 month recovery. He's not going to miss a lot of footy. So I guess that's a good thing. Yes, he's going to miss the start of the season. Obviously, it's a cruel blow for Robbo. Obviously, at a new club, he wants to impress and all that kind of stuff. It's a tough blow, but that's just part of our sport, unfortunately.
Yes, it is part and parcel of the game of rugby league. So what do you do?
Yeah, exactly right. And we saw, and we thought, obviously with the Bulldogs, there was a lot of an injury cloud with with Matt Burton, with Vegas, obviously, Leo Thompson out for 10 weeks, and was like, well, hopefully we just get through this trial game. Then, we've got a clean bill of health, and then this just drops on us. So it's come at the worst time, but, you rather it now kind of thing. So I think the question now is like, obviously we're thinking like long-term here. Like, I don't think this is really something to necessarily talk about, but like, I know it's early on, but like, could this be sort of like, would this put his origin spot in doubt now?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to think about, like, because like obviously the season hasn't started, but obviously he's the incumbent state of origin hooker, and he's going to miss some game time. It's it's tough for him, but
I mean, look, Blake Brayley had a fantastic year last year. I wouldn't be surprised if Brayley's might have moved into first choice. The injury won't help Robson's cause there. Of course, Watson still may play at 14, but yeah, it'll be interesting with Origin. I don't know. I guess if he's back and he's fit and firing in time, they'll pick him, but you just never know what's going through Daly's head.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. We have no idea. These days. We'll go through the other Roosters news over the weekend. One that broke a few days ago, Jared Reid-Hargreaves, obviously not fully Roosters related, but Jared Reid-Hargreaves set to join the Fox League commentary team. Obviously, I'm actually excited for seeing Jared on the screens of Fox League. Like, and Luke Keary obviously has got he's got a little bit of a media gig with Fox League. Does a bit of pieces with Triple M. Obviously, he's on buy round with James Graham and that. But we've always said how good Jared of a player is, but like you just tell that he has a footy IQ. Like, and I'm really excited to see what perspective and his game analysis and how we describes things on as a media pundit. It's going to be really exciting to see Jared on our screens.
Mate, absolutely love the big dog. I'm so happy he's back in Australia as well, and it's going to be fantastic to see him talking about the Chooks. I hope he's one-eyed as all you know what. I want him carving up other teams and just enjoying the Roosters footy. So great to see big JWH back.
Yeah, and obviously he's still involved in the club. You'll see him every now and then at the lower grades. He's been around it, with the SG Ball. Obviously, Boyd Cordner coaching the SG Ball. Paul Momorowski's coaching the Harold Mats. Obviously, got Albo running the academy with Friendy. It's just great to see. And obviously, Luke Keary's back at the club in a capacity as well. It's just great to see that, these legends of this club are still got a deep, have a deep presence within the, within the four walls from first grade all the way down to the lower grades.
Oh, mate, absolutely. I think it's fantastic. Some of those names you said, I mean, Mitch Orbison, for starters, just the experience that those guys at the academy would learn from him is incredible coming through. He played every position. So it doesn't matter what you play. If you're coming through the academy, you can learn to play centre, you can learn to play second row, learn to play fullback through Warbo. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, he can cover any position, Orbo. That's why we loved him so much as well. Obviously, we got a little bit of found this come out through today. Not a lot, not obviously big talking point here, but I just wanted to give a little bit of a what's the word for it? Like a public service announcement. That's it. The Roosters, New South Wales Cup, and Jersey Flegg sides are playing in a trial game against Parramatta this Saturday at Henson Park. So obviously, it looks like I think there's 4 games on that day. I think Cronulla are playing Penrith in the lead up, and then you have 2:00 New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flegg from 4 p.m. there at Henson Park. Obviously, we saw an NRL first grade fixture, even though it was a trial game, made a return there. So obviously, great to see some footy there at Henson Park. But obviously, if if we ain't, any of you guys ain't making the trip up to Gosford, we've obviously got some Roosters footy up on our screens on Saturday.
So good to see, mate. It's great to see the young guys running around. I'm a Central Coast boy myself, so I won't be at Gosford, unfortunately. Won't be down in my neck of the woods. I do have some stuff on Saturday, but we'll be supporting the boys. But, yeah, look, if you're around the Henson Park area, get down and support the New South Wales Cup boys. I mean, the trial was awesome. I'm sure you'll jump into it soon. But, yeah, some really great players in that team.
Yeah, by far. Like, obviously, we'll see, some of them featured that played last week. So, like, Taylor Salu, De La Salvata, Jake Elliott. That will be obviously Toby Rodwell is part of the first grade squad this week. But, we'll see Toby Rodwell, Rex Bassingwaite. He'll be probably playing Flegg or New South Wales Cup this weekend. So, great opportunity to see these guys go at it. And it's just great. Obviously, like, before the trial game started, like, I remember the first, when they had the first weekend of the trials with the 4 Vegas teams playing in that first day, I was glued watching the lower grades all day before that. Like, I was watching from 9 a.m. up here in Brisbane. Like, I was watching, from Harold Matts, SG Ball, the Central Coast SG Ball and Harold Matts. It's exciting. It's really exciting just seeing these lower grades and how, especially, obviously, like I mentioned, like, we've got in our Roosters junior rep sides, Harold Matts and SG Ball. Paul Momorowski's the coach of Harold Matts, and then Boyd Cordner. Boyd Cordner is coaching the SG Ball side, and they won the comp last year. It's just great. I love that kind of footy. Like, I remember my brother walked in watching the game, and his partner walked in, and was like, "Oh, what are you watching?" I was like, Harold Matts. What grade's that? 17. And like, these guys are 17. They're massive. They're 17 years of age, and
it's crazy.
Look at the size of them. Speaking of, obviously, you're from the Central Coast. Have you been getting much of a read of the Central Coast teams at all?
I haven't lived down there for a couple of years, but I did grow up there. I lived there for about 26 years. I'm now up in Penrith, but I haven't really had much of a look around. Of course, Mighty Magpies still going. Arimba Magpies down there. Absolutely love the Maggies. Obviously, Terrigal Sharks. Look, Terrigal have a bit of a rich history in the NRL. Scotty Drinkwater played Terrigal Sharks, so he's a local from down there. I know James Maloney was at Arimba and the Magpies for a little bit. We've got a lot of NRL pedigree that's actually played on Central Coast, and obviously they were the feeder club for the Roosters for a little bit. We had the Warangaroos for ages as our feeder club, which was great as well. So used to see the Rooster boys always around. My parents live at Terrigal. Shout out to mum and dad, but they live out at Terrigal, so we used to see the Rooster boys down at the beach quite a lot. But no, mate, haven't really had a look into the teams recently.
Yeah, okay. Yep, that's fine. Obviously the Harold Matts Central Coast team, they had a pretty good season last year, but looks like obviously they brought in the new SG Ball side this year, and they've 0-2. That's fine, but 0-2. Obviously new team, new competition. It's obviously a bit of I'm sure throughout time that they'll come together, but obviously the Harold Matts, they had a win against the top Balmain in the first week. Got a bit of a touch up against Penrith last week though, but like Penrith juniors are. We know what to expect with Penrith.
The system. It's crazy.
It's we know what to expect.
Oh, exactly, mate. The thing I love about watching the young guys is just the energy they bring, though. The energy that they have is just incredible. I mean, a classic example: watching Rex Bassingwaite on the weekend. Like the kid was everywhere. He was electric. He was sidestepping. He's trying to get the ball out wide. It's so good to see. I love the energy from the young guys.
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, we'll dive into it now. Obviously, the 42-26 loss to the Tigers there in Newcastle. Like we've sort of touched on it throughout the week. I'm happy for what I saw, to be honest. I'm happy. Like, I think Robbo would be, he was pleased from what he saw. He got what he, the players that he had on the start with. He got what he wanted to see from them, pulled them off, and get the young fellas a run. But that's I think it was a pretty good trial from us. Like I said, the result isn't the be all and end all, right? It's not. Like, I don't, the realistic Roosters fans, I should say, are walking away from that trial game going, yeah, happy with that. Yeah, we lost. So be it. Obviously, I don't like losing, but like, yeah, it's only a trial. And from what we saw in that first 40 minutes, that's what we wanted to see.
I'll tell you what, I think one thing I took out of it is that the backup that we've got is really good. We obviously signed Tommy Talau. He was great in this game. I thought Junior Pauga would be a starting centre in any team, in my opinion. I think the kid is fantastic. And I thought both of them were really good. Maybe a bit of a liability defensively, but attack-wise, I thought they were both great. I thought I touched on Rex before, but even in the front row, like having Egan starting as a prop was great to see. I thought he was really good. Obviously dropped one ball there, but he looked great. And then Siwa Wong. I mean, Siwa for me, he's been just building and building over the past couple of years. And I thought he was really good. And the best part, great to see Natty Butcher back. I love Natty Butcher and what he brings.
100%. And I said, obviously when I did my team predictor lineup last week, and I said Nat Butcher, he needs, obviously long layoff last year, was out for most of the year. And he needed the run. And that's why I understood why Nat Butcher played. And people are like, why is Nat Butcher playing? Like, what does he get out of this? I was like, he just needs time on the field. And I thought Butch was good. Like I said, the first 40 minutes, I couldn't fault the boys. They were really, really good. I love that combination of Hugo and Toby Rodwell. That was, I thought Hugo played really, really well in that 40 minutes he was on. His pass selection in that try that he set up for Junior Ponga, that was smick. That was a smick ball from Hugo. And as well, and I thought I'm really impressed with Toby Rodwell. I've seen him before. I've seen him from the lower grades. I saw him in the under 19s Origin last year. In the back end of the season of the SG ball, like you see that there is a future of Toby Rodwell in this lineup. And obviously that was probably he did play last year in the trials, but there was sort of the most he played, most game time he had in a trial, in a first grade trial, and he looks good. He plays direct, no nonsense. It's very, very structured as a half, and that's what we'd love to see about him. And I think, come to think of it, I reckon he'd be a perfect fit with Sam Walker going long term, and then obviously transition Hugo into a lock. I think that's be the perfect to fit them all in.
Yeah, that's been my big thing. I think that Hugo could easily play lock. I mean, he played a bit of back row when he was in Cup anyway, so he wouldn't be lost to playing at lock. I think he'd be great there. You see a lot of ball playing locks these days, so it'd be good to get Hugo in there. I saw your team predictor. I thought he may have played lock too, and I would have been really, really happy to see that, but we didn't get to see it in this trial, so hopefully in the future.
Yeah, maybe. Obviously, this weekend might another opportunity to do so. But yeah, like I said, I think last week would have been the perfect opportunity to do so even just for 10 to 15 minutes. It would have been nice to see. Look, but maybe that's what they don't need from Hugo right now. They need him as to be that that backup half, and I'm sure he'll be. He's the 6-man bench is perfect for Hugo to be a part of, and we just can't leave Hugo out at the side. Like he's just too good to be playing carp.
Oh, mate, absolutely. The guy's a legend. We saw what he did last year. I mean, first season you come in raw, you learn your trade, but then by the end of the year, it was like he had been in the team for 20 plus years. He found his feet so easily. Pass selection was great, and I think you could really see the improvement in Hugo in this trial match. You could see that he had that training from last year because he just knew. He just knew where everyone was. The touches were brilliant. It was like he'd go left, and you could just imagine Teddy sweeping around the back of him. Obviously, it was Rex in this sense, but you could just see it happening. You're going, man, Hugo knows what he's on about right now.
Yeah. And obviously, it helps when have these guys like Toby coming through, Hugo coming through. They've been in the system since they were 14.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. They've been in the system for God knows how long, so they know what to expect. So that's great. And then obviously being around the senior setup now for a couple of years, they know what's required. And that's the brilliance of having like guys like Hugo, Rex Bassingweight, and Toby Rodwell, all these guys coming, Benaya as well, all coming in, and they know what to do. It's great. Obviously, they got to develop still, yes, but they know what's happening, which is crucial with the with the squad balance and everything.
Absolutely, great time to be a Roosters fan.
It is, and obviously, it looks like a bit of a changing of the guard going forward, but we're in good hands. I don't think it's a rebuild coming up in the next couple of years. It's just it's similar to last year, a bit of a transition.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's always great to have that. Always great to have that that secure. We don't need to blow up the roster. We just got to put the pieces to the puzzle. It's always reassuring to know that. Obviously, yesterday or the day before, the Origin eligibility changing. Obviously, we had a little bit to say about it on the Diehards during the week, but obviously, as a Blues fan, Adam Fanua-Blake, welcome to the New South Wales Blues this year. But obviously, this impacts our boy Victor Radley.
Does.
I've been saying this for a while. I'd love to see Victor Radley in Sky Blue. He just suits Origin. Victor suits Origin, and I know it's a long shot because obviously you've got Yo and Murray, they're the two big dogs in the lock department. But if you can get somehow with this 6-man bench now, you could find a way to get Victor into this side. Imagine coming off the bench. You start with a Fanua-Blake and a Payne Haas, and then you come off. Spencer comes on, maybe a Mitch Barnett, and then Hudson Young or Hudson Young comes off. You bring on Victor Radley. That's a very scary forward pack if you're as a New South Welshman.
Oh, absolutely, mate. I think the big thing is we've got to remember 27 Crichton won't be there. So there is a spot open in that New South Wales Blues team, Angus that is. And, even if they run with, Young and Martin, they got Olakau'atu. But if you've got Olakau'atu, let's say you've got Olakau'atu, Murray, and Victor Radley and Spencer on your bench. Imagine if that's your four. Holy, you know what? It's going to be huge. I'd love to see Victor there. I really would. I'm just worried now that he's dropped down the pecking order quite a bit when it comes to a couple of years ago, he was the best lock in the game. He was fantastic. But
I still can't believe that Freddie, we love Freddie as a Roosters fan. We love Freddie, but I don't know what he was doing picking Talakai over Victor. I just couldn't understand that. They picked Talakai up one good game against Morgan Harper, and no disrespect intended to Morgan Harper, but
see how
his career turned out. Yes, Talakai sent him for a bath, but that's all he did that year. That was the only reason why he got picked was that performance. But as selfishly as it is, I'd love to see Victor in this setup. But
for sure.
He needs to have a hell of a year when he comes back from suspension. That's all I'm going to say. But I can just imagine seeing him in the side. Obviously, this Billy Smith as well. Obviously now eligible to play for New South Wales. Look, he is definitely good enough to play Origin, Billy Smith, but, he's, a long way off. But, obviously, you can always dare the dream. If he has consistent years of injury-free, he can definitely be, in the serious contention. And I love to see, obviously this year we've got, we got bye weeks during the Origin period. There's be a great opportunity to get Billy Smith into the Origin camp this year.
I think it could be interesting because we've seen stranger things happen. I remember quite a while ago when Adam Mogg played for Queensland, absolutely came from nowhere from the Canberra Raiders and played for Queensland at centre and carved up. So Billy Smith could be that sort of option. If we're lacking on centres, let's say Latrell gets an injury or Tommy goes down if they pick them, or S. Crichton, Bradman Best. He could be definitely an option if the Roosters are carving at that point of the season and Billy Smith's having a good year. And as you said, if he stays injury free, I would love to see him in the Sky Blue. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he wouldn't be out of place. That's for sure.
No.
Trying to think who else. Obviously, Lindsay Collins now can play for England. Obviously he's the incumbent Australian front rower, so I don't think currently that he'll play for England in the World Cup. But that it's obviously up there. But yeah, like I'm a big fan of this. With this eligibility changes now, like I think it just makes perfect sense. Like the game's growing internationally. You know, this is the best way forward. You're never got. Obviously this improved state of origin. Obviously, origin is right now the pinnacle, but whatever happens, you're never going to tarnish state of origin. But this just improves state of origin. This improves the international game without a doubt.
Yeah, and I think your international game should be the pinnacle. Playing for your country should be bigger than playing for your state. So I think this is definitely a way to go about that. I heard Guru was talking about it during the week, and I think that the best way forward is to improve these eligibility rules so that players go, okay, now let's go play for our country, that we can pick our country, make our country first tier better. We're going to see a lot of Samoans or Tongans who might be New Zealand heritage, I think, go back to New Zealand as well. We may see Kalen Ponga even go back to New Zealand now that he can play for New Zealand and Queensland. So never know.
Yeah, I like it. And, just with it doesn't, love to see, and people obviously going on and saying that, if you're going to say like a Fanua Blake, for example, or some of these Polynesians say, are they actually going to be that invested in, that passionate for New South Wales? Like, from what we've seen, look at Luai, look at Stephen Crichton, look at Spencer. Spencer's Samoan, right? Spencer will play for Samoa that's his nation that he represents, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to tell me that Spencer Linu isn't passionate about New South Wales? The way that, I was there last year at Suncorp when he was prowling down the sideline, giving it to the Queenslanders, and yet he's got a Polynesian background. He's Samoan. He plays for Samoa. You're going to tell me that he's not passionate for New South Wales? Obviously it's got to make sense where they've got, Polynesian heritage, they're from Samoa, of the Pacific nations. But if they're born here, they're born in New South Wales and Queensland, they're definitely going to have that passion for their state and their hatred towards the other.
Yeah, for sure. It's really interesting, isn't it? It sort of came at a time where, we look at someone like Jason Tamalalo, who was probably one of, if not the best forwards during his period of dominance. And you just wonder, imagine if he was eligible for State of Origin back then. I mean, he could have absolutely towered up. Same with Sonny Bill. I mean, imagine Sonny Bill running around for the Blues. It would have been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, for sure. Even, back in the day, maybe a Benji Marshall for Queensland. He was he was at Queensland at a young age, but that opens it up now. It opens it up, and obviously now you have that reassurance that you want to represent your heritage of where you come from, but at the same time now that you sometimes you toss and turn, going, but I want to play Origin as well. That rules that out now. You can do both.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great from the NRL. Fantastic.
It is, and obviously, yes, obviously this impacts Australia more than as a country more than anything, but Australia is still the pinnacle, right? They're the big dogs in this, but it makes it more competitive. Sometimes as an Aussie, we're sick of winning that, easily. It's great, but we want to make it a contest. I remember last year when we were in the Pacific Championships against Tonga. I wanted Tonga to make it a close game. Even in the Ashes, I wanted England to make it a close game. We're just sick of winning. But obviously, this makes it even more competitive, and we're really excited for what's to come in the World Cup this year for sure.
For sure. It'll be good to see some of those guys representing New Zealand again if they do decide to go that way. So it'll be great.
Yeah, 100%. Right, we'll go into a little bit of an analysis for this week's clash. Obviously, final hit out of the season against the Parramatta Eels in Gosford, kicking off at 6:00. Lummy is in the chat. He's going there. I'll see you there, Lummy. We'll be there. I can't wait for it. It's going to be exciting. Seeing some being there live, seeing the Roosters play again, always exciting. But yes, obviously against Parramatta, both teams pretty much pretty close to full strength.
Yeah.
Looking at the team list, obviously, you got to rule out Reece Robson now, which will be either Benai or Connor Watson to start. But the other two, no Daniel Tupou, no Rob Toya. I don't think it's not a lot to read into. I personally think they're just being rested. And giving Tommy Talau and Junior Ponga a run just to see scenarios where if Toya's out during Origin or Tupou injured and not whatever circumstance there is, like knowing that having these guys cover those positions, it's probably just get that reassurance from Robbo that if these guys go down, we've got that coverage to next man up mentality to do the job.
Mate, I got to agree. I think, look, Tupou's 34. He doesn't really need a trial, does he? He's been doing this for 14 years. So the guy knows how to play rugby league. And I think, as I said, Tommy Talau was really good in the first trial. So it's a pretty handy backup to have. Robbie Toy is an interesting one. Got a little niggling injury. Hopefully he's good to go by round 1. I think he should be. But even if he's not, let's say you run Tupou and then you put Tommy Talau in the centres with Billy Smith. I don't think you're going to be too lost there or Pauga as well. Very excited, mate. Very excited.
I still believe that Junior Ponga is the best backup in the comp, backup player in the comp for
Fantastic.
Sure. Like whenever he puts on the red, white, and blue, he does a job. So if obviously I did mention that about Toy when the team got announced. I was like, he did get injured in the Pacific Championship, so maybe that's something that's reoccurred, but obviously not to the extent of him missing game time. But obviously, look, if there's a niggling injury there, I'm glad that the precautionary side, like there's no risk. If there's a risk, like don't play him. Simple as that. Like it's a trial game. Right. What do you achieve if you running out with niggling injury? More damage. So I'm happy with that. That there, if there is resting and looking after them, getting themselves ready to go, fit round 1. I'm all for that. So, but obviously going over the rest of the lineup, obviously the big talking point this week is the halves combination. DCE and Sam Walker, our first look at a new halves combination, and a lot of intrigued about it, a lot of anticipation. Like I mentioned on Tuesday with the team list reaction, like we're not going to see the finished product this week. So everyone just hold the horses. We're not going to get the full result. We're not going to see them prime Kirian Tedesco and Cooper Cronk in 2018, 2019. We're just going to get, it's the start of this combination. What do you want to see from these guys coming into this trial this week?
I think I just want to see who takes a step back. I want to see if it's Cherry Evans taking a step back and making sure it's Walker's team, or whether, Robbo's gone in a different direction and said Cherry Evans is going to run this squad. Walker's going to sit back and do all the passing and whatnot, and Cherry Evans will organise the team. I want to see what route they go, because they both can't be the playmaker. They both can't be the main man. And I think Cherry Evans, with his age, will take the step back because he knows this is Semi's team. He's only there for a year. He's there to basically win a comp. He's come over to do a Cooper Cronk. I think that's what I'm hoping to see. I'm also hoping to see our forward pack hold the ball. Because as much as I love the Roosters, errors let us down in 2025, and a lot of it came from our forwards. So it'd be good to see them hold the ball. Obviously, it's going to be clunky. It's going to be clunky to start with. It's a trial match. They haven't played for, some of them haven't played since round 27 last year, some not since the first week of finals. So it's going to be clunky. You're not going to get it perfect. But, mate, I take us back to 2013. 2012, we finished down the bottom of the table. 2013, we signed Luke O'Donnell, James Maloney, Sonny Bill, all these big names, Michael Jennings. Everyone, we were $101 to win the comp in 2013 at the start of the season. We ended up minor premiers and taking out the comp, and everyone said, it'll take time to gel, but watch this space. You heard it here first.
Exactly right. And, you look into 2018, like we were, treading above water a little bit in the first 8 and 9 rounds of the season, and then we got, the combination of Kiri and Cronk got started to build, and then, which I think a lot of similarities about it this year. Like I think, we're going to, keep our head above water, keep in touch with the top 8, and then we're going to make it starts to come together after the Origin period, and then we're going to hit the ground running towards the back end of the season, and then when the whips are cracking, we're right there in the premiership business.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. In 2018, people were calling for Cronk to be sacked from the team because they said, he's too old. After that 8-9 rounds, everyone was saying, nah, Cronk's past it, blah, blah, blah. And then we went on and won back-to-back comps. So, look, I think Roosters fans, just stay patient. I know a lot of people aren't happy with the DCE signing. I personally am, because I know the Roosters play for premierships. It's written on our jersey. And I think this is the best way to go about it.
Yep. I don't mind a club taking the risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, I think as well, it's important to note that just say when we suffer a loss or two, the headline's going to be written. We know that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's
for sure.
If all eyes are going to be on this partnership at the start of the year. So, obviously we get our first little look at them this week, and we're really excited for it.
Cannot wait, mate. Cannot wait. It's also going to be great to see Blake Steep at lock. I love Blake Steep.
Yeah, Steepy. Boyd Steep. On the Diehards, we call him Boyd Steep.
Yes, love it.
And on the Roosters official podcast as well with Nolo and Clacker. they come up with a name that's their credit by all means. But I love Boyd Steep. We mentioned on here on Sunday how good he played in the All Stars. That was he was a tank. And I love that he got the starting role this week, starting lock. Yeah. Really excited.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, Fiketti. I love Fiketti. I can't wait to see him come on and burst through the line, and hopefully get a meat pie too. Be good.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, not more to talk about in the forward department. Obviously, Lindsay Nafahu White, that doesn't change. Gus locks down that left edge. We mentioned earlier, Nat Butcher on the right. Really like that. Bench looks pretty solid, obviously. The way we discussed it yesterday, obviously pretty solid forward rotations with, Spencer, Egan Butcher. I don't know. I don't understand the hate around Egan Butcher. Yes, he didn't have the greatest year last year. But you got to remember as well that Egan also come back from a serious knee injury as well, like Sam Walker. And I thought as the season built, he continually got better.
I think it's a big hype thing. Egan had a lot of hype. He had more hype than Nat. Nat was coming through, and everyone said Nat, which is going to be, incredible. And then they said, but wait till you see Egan. Egan's going to be even better. And he sort of hasn't hit those heights yet. I know he's had pretty serious injuries, but he hasn't hit those heights that people want him to hit. And it's sort of now everyone's going, okay, well, now is he past that point now, and he's just a good footballer, but not a great footballer. So, I don't know. It's interesting. Well, I think he's a good player, but does make an error or two. So, yep.
Which is it's passable. Yeah, it's standard, but that's just part of it, unfortunately. Obviously the lineup will change now. Obviously, Watto probably stays maybe 14, Benign 9. Them two will rotate. Celeste Fiketti, Egan Butcher, Spencer Siwa. That will obviously rotate within the forwards. Hugo and Toby Rodwell will probably move into the halves together when DCE and Sam Walker come off. Like I said, these big guns, I don't expect them to play long minutes.
No.
Tom Rodwell in that night, obviously Cody Ramsey. We've also got Junior Tupou there in reserves to replace these outside backs. Could we see an opportunity as well? Marky Mark play a bit of fullback.
Mate.
Or when Tedesco comes off, are we going to see Cody Ramsey line out the one?
Look, I play a bit of rugby league 26, mate, and whenever Teddy goes to Origin, I'm always chucking Marky Mark at fullback. I cannot wait to see it. Let's bring rugby league 26 into reality this week.
That's it. That's it. He would not put a foot wrong at fullback either.
No way.
He would not. But pretty close to full strength side. Obviously a few outs, but great to see, most of the big guns on deck, and really exciting times that obviously they're close to our full strength team. Excited for the weekend, honestly. Our last hit out before round one, this is what our side's going to look like for the next 27 to 30 weeks. Let's get it done. Let's get it on.
100%. And we're taking on a good Parramatta side too. I'm excited to see Pezza and Moses taking on Walker and I was going to say Cleary then, Walker and Cherry Evans. That's going to be an absolute battle. I think Pezza, we know the pedigree he brings, so it's going to be very, very good to see.
Yeah, and it's also good to have that competitive nature. We're up against a good side in Parramatta. They're on the rise this year. So, which is good for us having that competitive and that feeling about it this weekend. So obviously the results aren't the be all and end all this week. If we lose, it doesn't change my opinion. But, we still need to see the signs like we did last week. That's why I was more content with the loss last week, because we saw the signs when our main guys were on the field, and hopefully we can see that they can replicate that as well. But just keep a little bit of the doubters, but a little bit of the critics at bay. Can't really complain if we get the job, if we get the 2 points, or even though it doesn't matter in the preseason. But if we get the win, not really a lot to be critical about.
As long as we get the bonus points, that'll be good.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be good. Good enough. Yeah, let's get the 15 offloads to get some bonus points. Yeah, I wish that worked out throughout the season, because we definitely want to be the best team with the offloads.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not. Well, that will conclude us tonight, mate. Really appreciate your time coming on. Always welcome as a guest throughout the year. We'll see you throughout the year as well. Anything to say before we finish up?
I guess just fire up, Roosters fans. Hey, get down to Allianz as much as you can this year. Support your club. I'm going to try and be there at as many games as I can. Obviously, I'm in Sydney, so not too far for me. I will be at Magic Round, so if you are getting down to Magic Round, come and say good day. Obviously, Hainsey, I'm assuming, will be there too. So, yeah, look, just
home
fire
game,
up.
Magic Round's the home game.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm just pumped for the season ahead, obviously, and I think a little bit of a teaser. We get 2 weeks in a row with the Roosters back, then we have a week off. Bit of a teaser, right? And then we have to wait another 2 weeks until the Roosters are back on our screens again.
Yeah.
But the season's almost here. Our last hit out before we get into the big stuff. We cannot wait. Mate, thank you for your time tonight. Really appreciate it. Make sure to follow the Ruck Infringement Podcast on all their socials. They do some great work, and we'll definitely be seeing Joey throughout the year. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, give us a follow on the Instagram, subscribe to my channel if you like to as well. And we'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye for now. See you later.
Thank you.